Moving on to the cone. So the cone is pretty much a cylinder just pinched. So we could probably just take this and then, can we? Hold Control, Shift, and Alt. And yeah, almost. We could cheat it. Yeah, all right. Get her done. And just lop off that bottom part. And now we have a cone. Now I'll actually do it, but you can see how it's the same process, just pinched. It's going to lay in that value. Okay, going to lock the transparency. Going to select halfway to black. Now, the core shadow is going to be pretty soft over here, right? But pretty sharp and tight up here. And then in between, it's going to have a fall off. Reason being, because it's pinched. So I'm going to use a big airbrush over on the bottom and gradually change the size as I get to the top. And much like we have a roll over to the other side of that value, I'm going to do that same thing here too. A bit wider at the base, and smaller brush as we get to the top. And just by doing that, it looks like it's three-dimensional. It's kind of lumpy. Let's fix that. Then we can throw in that highlight now. And we zoom out, and it's doing the job of conveying form. Add a bit of bounce light, maybe strengthen the value of that core shadow here. I know some people refer to value as tint. It's not really how I learned it, but that's fine too. Cool. And this is pretty much very simple compared to everything else. It's going to lay in a quick 80%. Gonna move that down to here. Let's bring this over so we know where the light is coming from. Lock the transparency. I'm just going to borrow the values from up here. Let's imply that it's lower so that we have one side that's in full shadow. And then we'll have a bit of a gradient fall off. All right, so yeah, if we turn off that layer, we zoom out, it looks like it's a 3D cheese wedge. Now, why did I include that? So if you haven't done 3D construction before, whether through a 3D program or a drawing class or whatever it might be, then relating all this to actual forms of a face might be new. But however, if we just introduce some new shapes to this, and we'll get more complex with this in the next few lessons, if we add another, let's say, footprint of, I don't know, like a wedge, maybe like if we lopped off the corner of this cube and moved it down to over here, you'll have like this kind of pyramid, right? So something like that. And then if we have one on the other side too, that starts to look like a nose, because then you can change the geometry a bit. and imply that there's nostrils down over here. But just by understanding form, this process becomes so much easier. And we'll break down the forms that make up all the facial features later on. And you can kind of imagine a face or something, and a mustache. But it's like, can you do a cheese wedge? All right, cool. Then you can paint a nose. But we're not done yet, because we want to put some different values on these.